What's going on with it, people? We back at it again, and we going with Money Monday. Follow the money. So, back at it again. What are we talking about today on Money Monday? There's a lot of things that we could talk about, but going back to the same as usual, dealing with budgeting. This weekend I kind of overspent in my budget. I had some things I had to buy, some things I had to return, and basically, shout out to follow the money. So I basically had to follow the money and pretty much develop this strategy onto me, making more money. So when it come down to it, what's going on, boss lady in the building? So for the most part, going over my budget, everything's being paid for. Looking at all the new things I want to occur to add more into my debt. So, seeing if it's profitable for me to take on other things as well, you know, and being more comfortable. And also end up having a situation with my brother as well, talking with him. Jigs is going on. Four Corners Custom, what's going on with you, man? I haven't hit you for a minute. I've been seeing you been doing good on your other channel, man. Shout out to you. What's going on, Cool Gamer? But I had to sit my brother down and we was going over some plans and everything because um right now he's in between jobs and about to get something else. So he's looking at the point of the money he has, dealing with his insurance, making sure all his insurance is met, still paying all his bill obligations and stuff, and going forward from there. So it's quite simple, but the caveat: you still want to have your fun, you still want to have your vices that you want to tend to, you know. So with it being a budget, you got to account for every penny, and so that's the thing with people in budgeting. Literally, if you count all the checks that you have or the money that you make, the money in the account, and accounting for your money, you already know. Lisa J, what's going on with you? Over 50. What's going on with you? How are you doing? Happy New Year's to you. Happy New Year's to you. So, the thing is, I was just basically we having a conversation and just talking about his bills in between jobs. Um, you know, what can he afford? Because there's some things like you can't go to parties as much as you used to. You know, um, maybe if you buy a 12 pack every day, look, just for word of thought, you might have to buy a 12 pack for the week or so many days. Even with cigarettes, you might smoke 5 cigarettes a day. You might go down to smoking, you know, 2 cigarettes a day because I know that nicotine get a lot of people. So it just everything with the budget, um, like going to hang out. Sometimes you might got to sit home because of the gas prices. So when it came down to it, we just going over the budget, little things, And I told him, even with getting a loan, let's say you want to borrow some money from somebody, you got to pay that back. So how are you gonna be able to pay that back? Just going over food for thought for everything. And Bunny, what's going on? How you doing? Good morning, morning. So ultimately, you know, just watching his money. And I told him same thing with me. There were some things that I bought I technically need, but it didn't do, what I wanted it to do. So in light, I could keep the products and just use it for something else, or just take it back, buy something a little cheaper, and until I get what I really want. You know, and ain't no sense in me just buying stuff to be buying. My wife she always says, it's a recession, so plan and don't really spend as much, and you know keep the budget tight. because we never know what's going on or what might happen. And then I'm in the process of getting a new vehicle as well. So that's another challenge as well because we're gonna add it's gonna be three vehicles, you know. And at one point I think we had about five cars, no, four cars, three of them being my trucks. So just cutting costs, we didn't need that much insurance on all those vehicles. So it was to the point where, excuse me, but for us to have only three vehicles insured, because there's always a case to where we can do two vehicles and just add one if need be that day. But for the point of reference is to always have three to where if something goes wrong with one car, I can jump in another car and keep going. But four vehicles, the likeliness of four vehicles. So cut down on budget. That's an expense we don't need. Same thing with groceries. You know, I tend to more or less want to cook what's in the refrigerator before going out to buy new. And my wife, she loves cooking salmon a lot and the fresh salmon. So basically, wellness with frugal mama morning. So basically, when it come down to it, us having a budget over our groceries, is key. Buying the things that we really truly need, and having to sacrifice just going to the grocery store buying stuff just on their impulse. That's the rule of thumb. They always say never go to the grocery store hungry because you're gonna buy a lot more than you expect. You know, I went to the grocery store hungry sometimes and I spent $300 and don't know where it's coming from because I'm planning all the meals in my head, and then I'm getting snacks, and then oh, I can eat this right now on the way home, or I can drink this on the way home, and then it tends to be a point to where you overspend. You know, Grocery lists is a key. You're buying on a budget, you're buying certain things you need, and let that to be. Like I said, even with going places, if I have to go somewhere after work, making it count. Me just to go and lollygag like for this month, I normally go to different stores, see can I get some deals. I am actually prone to buy a whole bunch of tools, and a lot of times, my wife don't really say too much anymore about me buying so many tools because a lot of the tools that I buy, when majority we end up doing projects around the house, they come in handy and we need it. You know, and there was a saw that I wanted to get, and my wife was like, I don't think you should get it. And when we were doing the floor, it was needed. Same thing when I was building my I've been had it on my flower bed, but it was something else. I was building with some wood. I don't know if I was fixing the porch on the front of the house, and I needed, the saw for that. I have a skill saw, but I think it's like the miter saw, or something like, or a table saw. It was a table saw, so I needed a table saw, and the table saw is a lot easier. Don't have to balance and try to work certain ways. So the table saw is perfect for that. Lisa J, what's going on with you? So Lisa J stocks. I don't want to get everybody confused right now. Lisa J and Lisa J. But the crazy part was I bought one, and need be came down to it where I had to use that, and it was perfect. It made things a whole lot easier and a whole lot faster for me. Considering that my drills that I bought, same as with that. Me buying the drills, I will buy certain drills, like something called an oscillator, and it cuts just the same as a saw, but it gets in small, tight places. So when I was redoing the floor, there was a lot of times I had to cut some of the trim in out to because of the nails I couldn't get past the um, get it from the wall, and I didn't want to use a hammer or something to pry and just gouge into the drywall. So the oscillator came as a good tool to use, and that was the point. Buying that oscillator, it paid off. So now, with this being the case coming into February, I'm not going to no stores. I'm not window shopping before I go home, seeing the deals. Whatever deals it is, they're gonna have to wait till March. You know, and I was telling my wife because just not even just being an impulse buyer, just seeing things are such a deal, you would just ultimately want to get it. So with that being said, I'm budgeting on that. Like I'm saying, coming home instead of going around driving other places, that's saving on the gas as well. You know, buying things. I coach wrestling. So there are some times that might have to buy things or do things for the team. You know, some things are not necessary for me to spend on, but I do it or buy, for the kids just to give them a little appreciation. So that might be something I might end up cutting back on as well. So I might go- Something I might cut back on as well for that. And it's just, just overall budgeting. Like I said, even with the grocery bill, there are certain things I might buy that I shouldn't buy, but then there's things that are needed. So I have to make that, budgeting choice as well, about my options. Cause what's going on, Doug? But going into it, it's just better ways of cutting down, saving money, making it to a point to where, the money that I'm saving for long term is going to be effective, and what is the money going to be used for? That's the biggest thing. A lot of times, you know, people wanting things, people wanting to do things at what cost? You're going to need to buy these things. These things are, are you having the money available? Are you saving the money? What are your options? So we're going so we're going forward, that's the thing. Everybody has to stick to a budget. So with sticking to a budget, there are options and things that you're gonna have to do in order to make that budget worthwhile. You're gonna be cutting back on your spending. How are you gonna be cutting back on your spending? You know, how's it gonna affect, overall within the budget? Are you gonna cut too much to where it's gonna be like it's miserable for you to afford life? Because in most cases, that's what people get to a point where they're budgeting and miserable, like eating rice and beans. Like nobody wants to eat rice and beans every day and every night. So, fix it up, make it good. Buying certain things is key. So if you want to, eat the finer things, I guess that people would say filet mignon, however folks should vote. But the point of reference is buying this stuff with intent, like with a purpose. I'm not buying a whole bunch of this, not buying a whole bunch of that. I'm buying, for the most part, the things I need, not the things I want. To a point, the things you want, they can come at times, and there's so-called cheat days that everybody have for each other and stuff. Sorry about that. But you have your cheat days, but even when having the cheat days, it still come with a budget, you know. Personally with me, I'm not gonna have a cheat day. So whatever I'm budgeting for this week or this month, however I'm gonna handle it, there's not gonna be a cheat day. Because most of the time cheat days get out of control. So for the most part, it's not gonna be a cheat day for me. I'm gonna set the goal of saving so much money to buy something else, and if not being, I got a couple of things I want to do. I want to get a new shed. Well, I want to get a shed to put in my backyard, and I'm also in the process of building the shed. So I need more storage. I have some things in my garage I got to get out. I got about four wheelers, and I can't keep them in my garage no more. I need the space. So versus me just keeping my side in the element, just going ahead and just putting them in the shed would be more for me. A lot of my tools, that's what I'm actually building two sheds for. The one I'm building is going to be for like small lawn care things and tools because that's going to keep a lot of the things in my garage to be free, so I can park a car in there if need be. My wife wants to park in the garage, then so be it. Then also, that's another thing that I'm budgeting for as well. My garage door opening. The garage door went out probably last year, the year before. Just never really had the time to just go ahead and install a new one. You know, I could get someone to do it. I have a friend that installs garage door openers, but me being on the cheap side and more of a handyman, I could do it myself. It's not as hard as most people may think, but it's the point is your skill, your level of thinking, your preference to you. I'm not gonna say it's the easiest thing for you. The next thing you know, gee, we here talking. Yeah, so it turns out, however, you know, if you do it at your own risk. They say cheat days easily turn to cheat weeks. Yeah. Young Riaz, what's going on? I see you, Lisa. Yeah, and that be always the thing. Even when I used to do cheat days on my diet, I would say, well, on the weekend, I'm gonna eat whatever I want, and I would tell my wife, I was like, I don't like cheat days. And she was like, oh, well, cheat days make the diet easy. I'm like, no, because everything you've sacrificed and, lost the weight for during that week, you're going to gain it all back over the weekend. So if anything, it will be more mild to eat something just as small or, you know, have one little slice of cake, not the whole cake or not half of a cake, and different things that can set off your budget. um set off your diet and also set off your budget because like with me, far as me financing, I will be overspending. I will have a cheat day to where I go overspend on something. Now, if it's something necessary needed, like tires or something for my car, I have to spend that going into the budget. But things like tools and toys, um, even my wife just got on me. Yeah, even my wife just got on me. I actually just bought another drone, so I have a total of four drones. And my wife's like, "Why do you have four drones and it's just you, one person?" I said, "Well, more or less for the kids." She's like, "Okay, try to use the kids as a way to, go with your spending habits of overspending or spending too much." But that was a reason for me and my intent. And since my boy's birthday was just passed, that was the thing to get the drones. And we go outside and fly and stuff, but it's been cold. But going into, the spring, that's something for them to get out there and do more or less being on the game so much and playing a lot. And, it's just more thing because also with budgeting too, it's another thing I can show my kids because they just got money for their birthday. And, the thing of it is me showing them the budget, like, don't spend all your money on this. Make sure what you want to do because now my one of my sons, he plays Roblox all the time. And I didn't even know how much money he spent one time on the game until one of his friends was talking about it and said that he got some badge or something on the game, and the thing is $50 and then another one is $50. So in all, he spent a total over probably like 500 or more on the game. You buy over time it adds up. You thinking that, just little stuff, or he's buying this and being modest about it until you really realize all the stuff that he's doing. Because certain games he don't even play no more. I remember one year, what's going on, Sweet Thumb? My brother gave uh my twins $200 a piece for their game, and he brought them some toys. One of my sons, he spent all his $200 on the game in like 19 minutes. And my other son, he kept his for over a couple of weeks because he played the games, but he don't really play as much as his other brother. Like his brother considers himself more of a gamer. And the thing of it is, living outside, living out loud, the podcast is going on after dark. But when it comes down to that, he doesn't really have a sense of budgeting or saving money. So it got to the point where I had to start telling him, you know, think about decisions what you want to spend your money on. And now he's to the point where he has his money for his birthday. He wants to buy stocks into Roblox and then purchase some Roblox. And we were going over and talking. He was like, "Well, you're right. So if I buy Roblox stocks and I play it, that just keep giving me more money." And I told him, I said, "Well, if you get to a point where you get dividends, you won't even have to ask us for Roblox coins anymore, whatever the bucks that they have, because he's able to take the dividend money and transfer it over to his cash account from the stocks and then just buy Roblox with that. Or he can reinvest some of it and just keep getting more and more, either or." And teaching him that budget, and that's for him to, be successful. Carol, what's going on? Carol the Girl Miniature. This is my favorite channel, y'all. Carol has some stories for days, y'all. But when it come down to it, like I said, going into February, I'm looking at having a excruciating budget for me because once again I like buying things. I like buying on deals, and I like getting more bang for my buck. So it's about me saving more or less than to getting the best deals. It's about me saving and getting a goal of getting a new vehicle and wanting to hopefully get something that I can pay off with cash versus getting a car note, because when it comes down to it, I really don't like car notes. And plus my budget is going into a lot with my life insurance and other, savings and investments that I'm trying to get into. One of the big investments I'm gonna have going into probably the second quarter of this year after March is looking to invest in some things I don't really want to say right now, but you know, and I'm gonna need a budget for that. So starting now is the key. And that's the whole thing with me getting my calendar started for the new year. You know, I have my dry eraser board with the calendar that I set certain days up for the month. But then I also have my calendar going to Walmart. A lot of those calendars, they're good, they're throwaway. My wife has an excellent one. I think she spent almost $25 for that one. And this one is a 8 by, I think it's like an 8 by 10, 8 by 11, whatever. I think it's 8 by 11 some binder. But the thing about this binder is so good is because you can actually take the binder and use the dry eraser marker and the dry eraser on it, that when you put dates for the year, you can come back and change it. Just because it's 2024, she's using the same binder from 2023. There's no dates on there. You write the dates and the months, everything, all on the calendar. And when you're done with it, you can erase it. My wife, she likes it a little bit, but she more or less like to keep her stuff for the next year, so she can always go back and look at the goals that she accomplished. So that's why she has about two or three of them. Because sometimes if she loses them, she get another one. But the point of reference is having that budget and sticking to a plan. You know, and a lot of the stuff that bills be accumulating, those are recurring all the time. So the change within the budget is coming from food and unexpected things. And that's the thing. Unexpected, you never if you're never budgeting for unexpected things that happen, 9 times out of 10 you're never going to have the money for it. So putting money aside, that's another thing you got to do. If something doesn't happen, you could take a portion of that budget and put it towards something else. That's why I say I'm in the process of looking for a car to pull some money out of some other, savings and things that I have to invest more heavily into that car. And that car is going to make me money, so it's going to be, using both ways. Just like my pickup truck makes me money. That's the whole reason and purpose that I'm buying is that other vehicle just for that purpose as well. And then looking forward getting me another pickup truck. That's another thing, that's going to be going along the line that I'm looking for as well, because my truck is older, and I really want something bigger with more power. This one's pretty much as top of the line power as it gets, but for the people that know about dually trucks, they're bigger, more wheels. They're going into the realm of being a smaller version of a box truck, and with more power at that, I can go get me some trailers and haul some things and do more other things on the side from my job as well, or possibly even just one day just going full throttle with the company again and just saying bye to working with people and be an entrepreneur, work for myself. But with all that being said, you gotta have a budget for it. And that's the key with most people, not having a budget. You know, just as simple as getting you a notebook, writing things down. One of my jobs, they actually found my notebook and they was just going through it and was like, man, you have everything written down, you have all your bills, all your reoccurring transactions that come out of your account every month. I'm like, yeah, for every month they go through, they seen all this, all my utility bills. I would, as I say, guess estimate. Normally when I'm spending, I go back and look at the transaction for previous years on the PDF file when you look on the transactions online. And so I would go through the motion of, okay, well, last month I was spending this, so it's going to be on average about the same. So putting it to a point to where it can relate to when I pay all my bills. If because the majority of the time, everybody gets paid anywhere between a week and 2 weeks. You know, most of the time I was talking back in the day with teachers, they were saying they get paid once a month, then they start getting paid every 2 weeks. And most of the time when I was doing contract work, I would get one large check at the end of that contract. So when you first start the process within that contract, you don't get paid your first month. You go back into it, and then that's when you get paid. So a lot of times it's to that point where you'll have an issue with, paying on that contract. I mean, we're getting paid because if you ain't got no money within the first couple of months to sustain, probably gonna quit before you even get finished. Hold on one moment. Yeah, sorry about it. I'm about to go ahead and end this. Got something to do real quick. But shout out to everybody that came through. You know what I say? We here, we gone.